All right, you are looking live. It's sold out MetLife Stadium with today. The 16-0 and playoff-bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Cincinnati Bengals. And why are the Cincinnati Bengals 0-16? Because they suck. They've been around since 1968. They never won nothing. Cincinnati been in what? 3 Super Bowls, lost them all. Cincinnati. Man, that stuff gets me every time. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all that's going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. If anybody's going to spend time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight, shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free to fire away, throw it in the chat box. You try to check on the chat box. I'll give you 5 or 10 minutes or so. So as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free, fire away with the comments. But plus also, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever it might wind up being, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So please feel free and fire away. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, the very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. First one's called the Saquon. Second membership level I got is called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third membership level I have is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. If you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. But if not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live, if I put a video out, you'll be notified. That's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you're subscribed to my channel, thank you. Maybe you give this video a thumbs up or share this video. That would be freaking awesome. And finally, also just a little ways down in the description box, there's 2 additional links. The top one's a Facebook link. I'll go over that one in just a second. The one underneath it, I'm an old-time fart. I can't stand change. I like things just the way they are. That link underneath, it's a Twitter link. It's always been Twitter to me. It always will be Twitter. It's always been Twitter. I'm one of them old-time farts. I can't stand change. I'm one of them get off my lawn kind of old-time farts, right? I said it's Twitter. It's a Twitter link. Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. That's an absolute promise. I try to put Giants-related stuff in my Twitter account every day. And I said then finally, the link on top of it takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 8,400 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I have internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group darn near 365. And not only do I put stuff in this group, but the members post stuff in this group as well, too. So between me and the members, there's a ton of New York Giants information going in this group every day. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You won't be dissatisfied, I promise. All right, but all that stuff said and done and out of the way with. Well, day 3, OTAs, right? So that's it for this week. Next week, there'll be 3 OTAs, right? And then the following week, they'll wrap it up 4, right? So the media was there today. They said there was a lot of people there at the OTAs. Daniel Jones was talking. A lot of people were talking. And it was a busy day, busy day. But the first thing I saw was, and once again, I'm an old-time fart. You know what I mean? So please, that's where I come from. All right, you know what I mean? There's a lot of things I love about the league. You know what I mean? And all that and everything. You know, it's you know, man, you live and breathe football. I can't wait for, when September rolls around and all that stuff and everything. I mean, it's does my heart good to see some guys out there just knocking the living crap. It does my heart good. Man. I love it. You know what I mean? You love it. But once again, I'm like with Mr. Mara. I'm just, I mean, obviously, well, different for him. I gotta agree. I mean, he's not a big fan I don't even think he was a fan of the 17-game schedule. I don't even know if he was even a fan of the 16-game schedule. It started in 1978, but he's not a fan of the 18-game schedule, and I can understand too. I mean, because for me, once again, the more it's about the Benjamins, the less I like it. I just, it's just, once again, forgive me, I'm an old time fart. I'm used to, some of the things I really like. Some of the things I really, really like. Other things I don't. One of the things I really like, okay, is, obviously, this absolutely goes to share with the, the NFL, right? Is like with the Sunday Ticket. Now it's on YouTube. Last year was on YouTube. The past however many years before that was on DirecTV. I've had it ever since 2000. I absolutely love that. So I'm sure obviously a lot of that money helps go to the league and all of that. So I absolutely love that. Where you get to see, you can literally see every game. Either it's on the Sunday Ticket or it's on like Thursday night or Sunday. So you can really see every. So I love that. The one thing, as I said, I'm used to like a 14-game schedule. To me, back in the day, we're going back 55 years ago, 54, 50, 55 seasons ago, right? When you hit 10 wins, that was a good season. Not that it's a horrible season nowadays, but if you're 10-7, all right, pretty good. All right, you're in the playoffs. For the most part, you're probably in the playoffs, 10-7. I'm saying I'm used to back to, if you're 10-4, that's a good season. Really, really good season. That's what I'm used to. But I'm also used to, every game's on TV. You don't have to buy subscriptions and stuff. Well, I'm sorry. Every game that was on TV was free. You don't have to go out and buy a Netflix subscription or a YouTube subscription or an Amazon subscription or a subscription to Kmart or, this or that or not. Everything, whatever the games that were on TV were free. The problem is that there were only, back then when I first started, it was 26 teams. So there was 13 games each week. There's no bye weeks. So there was always this, usually, well, I can't always say that because I remember quite often, there was always a Monday night game, right? But sometimes what would happen, right, would be like, and this happened quite a bit, and this really, really pissed me off. That's another reason why I hated the Eagles. Absolutely hated the Eagles. Because when I moved here from Long Island in 1977, I moved here in October of 77. So I got to see the first month or so in New York. But as 78 rolled around, and 79 and all that in 80, what happened a lot of times was the channel that the Eagles were on, okay, if they were the home team, say whatever, CBS, because it was back then, it was CBS, ABC, and NBC. Right, there was only 3 channels. There's not 812 like there is nowadays. I don't even know. Sometimes I don't know what channel the stuff's on. Is it Peak? What's Thursday night? Is that Peacock? Is that Amazon? Is that Netflix? Is it Chuck E. Cheese? Is the McDonald's program? I have no idea half the time. I don't even know. You know what I mean? I know Monday night, Channel 7, ABC, right? Monday Night Football, babe, right? Giants, I think, were on 2 in New York. Jets were on 4. That's all I knew. 2, 4, and 7. Right? Unless we had to. Sometimes we might have to try to change the antenna on top of our house, because every now and then the Giants home games would be blacked out, or the Jet home games would be blacked out. So we'd have to change the antenna to spin it around to face Connecticut, so we could pick up the Giants, channel. So I guess it would be CBS or whatever it was, that had the Giant game, but it was shown in Connecticut. So we had to switch the antenna around. And a lot of times we get the Giant game, which was being shown in Connecticut. It's very fuzzy, but you can make the players out. So usually you change the channel and you watch because we're talking about the 70s. We're talking about, so you'd watch the Giants lose in fuzz, But the one thing I hated when I came here was from moving from Long Island to this down by here, Philadelphia, is that a lot of times what happened was, like, say, the channel that the Eagles were on, I think it was CBS. I think NBC was the AFC. Obviously, Monday Night Football. There was no Sunday Night Football, 1980, right? 80, 81, whatever. So, I mean, you still had, ABC was Monday Night Football, right? NBC was the AFC, I believe. CBS was the NFC. And the thing I hated was was a lot of times what would happen would be if CBS, the channel the Eagles were on, had a double header that week. So basically half the season, half the season, I don't even know why CBS and NBC can't have double headers. I have no idea. Oh no, we got it this week. You got it now. Who the? Why don't we have? Why can't NBC have a double header? Why can't CBS have a double header? Why? Who the cares? But anyway. But a lot of times I said that, if the channel the Eagles were on was having the double header, so there was 2 games on CBS and 1 game on NBC. Unless the Eagles were home, and they always showed the Eagles at home. So that means the Eagles at home were usually 1 o'clock. So usually what that meant was at 1 o'clock, the only game on would be the Eagles. So I couldn't even change to another channel. So if I wanted to watch football 1 o'clock on Sunday, I had to watch the Eagles. I'm not watching it. Why do I want? Who wants to watch the Eagles? Are you kidding me? So what that meant also was that, so then there was only be one other game at 4 o'clock, because that automatically knocked out the second game on the doubleheader game. They wouldn't show it. They would show the one game at 1 o'clock because the Eagles were at home. Automatically knocked out the second game on CBS. So that meant on Sunday, half the season when the Eagles were home, right? Because back in 80, there were 16 games. So basically half the year, eight weeks, there was only 2 games on because the Eagles were home. So there would be 1 game on CBS at 1 o'clock, which would be the Eagles at home, which I didn't want. I'd rather take 2 forks and jab them into my skull right through my eyeballs than to watch an Eagle football game. And there would be 1 game on at 4 o'clock on NBC. So it would be an AFC game. It might be like the Chiefs Raiders or something like that, So basically, pretty much the whole, if the Giants were on or something, like you weren't seeing, unless the Giants played in Philadelphia, right? But I absolutely hated that because a lot of times it wound up being where because the Eagles were home, automatically lost the game. I absolutely hated that. Absolutely hated that. But anyway, I said, I'm just an old type. I can't. I like 14 games. 14 games. After a while, I'm getting used to 16. But now, what are we going to do? We're going to go up to like 80 games. To say 80 games. What are we? The Super Bowl is going to be played in July 4th or something. The one thing I didn't like also was which is just a bit. Was a bit much. Although I did get used to it a little bit in the beginning, was the preseason, 6 games. There was 6 games. So basically it's always been 20 games. Not so much when it was a 12-game schedule from 1960 on back. There wasn't like 8 preseason games or whatever. But there was usually when I first started watching in 1970, there was 6 preseason games. Then there was 14 regular season game. Then in 1978, when they went to the 16-game schedule, it was 16 games and 4. Now there were 17 games. Now, of course, they went down to 3 preseason games. Then, of course, now there'll be 18, and then you're down to 2. I mean, I'm sure we'll go to 19, so because it's all about the best. So what are we gonna do? Have a half a preseason game so we can get 20. I mean, I'm a little bit like with Mr. Mayor. He's not very happy about it. He was in this article here. He's talking about, obviously, about the players. The one thing is also is that, how you kind of looking at it, thinking about it all, is that like in the preseason games, you can pick and choose who's going to play in there. Like if your starter, like last year, Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley and all of that, maybe you want to, it's got a long season ahead of them. Now we're up to 17 games. Soon, guarantee we'll be up to 18 games. That's a long season. I mean, Jesus Christmas. Are you kidding me? But obviously during regular preseason, you don't have to play them, But I mean, 18 game schedule. I mean, really? Is it really the money's? Yeah. But I'd say there's a bunch of articles, but this one's from Giants Wire. Giants co-owner John Mara opposes the 18 game schedule. It's just been a few years since the NFL shifted to a 17 game regular season schedule over the course of 18 weeks. Now that the league has adjusted, the push to expand to an 18 game schedule has been a hot topic this offseason. New York Giants co-owner John Mara was asked about the league possibly extending the schedule at the NFL's owners' meetings on Wednesday and admitted he wasn't too crazy about the idea. Let's see. However, Mara acknowledged he may be in the minority because, everybody, it's all about the Benjamins. So he said, I can't say I'm necessarily crazy about extending the season, Mara said. I worry more about player fatigue and wear and tear on the players moving forward. That's one of the reasons why we have to have the discussion with the players' union. Obviously, from a business perspective, the extended schedule would bring in more money, shocker there, for both the teams and the league. It's all about the Benjamins. With the Giants being one of the more injured teams in the NFL over the last few years, perhaps that's why Mara feels strongly about the negatives that would come with an 18-game schedule. I mean, it's just ridiculous, 18 games. It's unclear if the season would start a week earlier, trimming the preseason down to 2 weeks, or if the season would be extended by 1 week. If it's the latter and the NFL doesn't eliminate the week off for the Pro Bowl before the Super Bowl, it would push the Super Bowl to President's Day weekend. So now the championship game, which used to be, I mean, obviously we're talking the championship games used to be like December 9th or December 10th or December 11th or the 12th back in the 30s. Now the championship game is going to be pushed almost like 2 months further, over 2 months into the future. Now we'll be well into February. I mean, President's Weekend is like the 20th or something like that. I think it is the 21st, somewhere around there. I mean, once again, going back almost 100 years ago, but the championship games used to be played like December 10th, December 11th, December 12th. Yeah. With the traction this topic has gained this offseason, it is not out of the realm of possibility that could be voted on next offseason and beginning during the 2026 season. Be interesting to see what they wind up doing. The one thing, I mean, because I like, the one thing I do like, okay, is giving the guys, a chance that the guys trying to make the roster. Sometimes I go in there, go make a play. Okay. Yeah, we're going to do we'll have one preseason game that lasts 5 minutes long. Yeah, you go in there and make a play. You make a play, you'll make the team. Sometimes it's a little tough to make a play. Obviously, if you have 3 games and obviously, pretty much all the guys on the team, except for maybe the starters or something, all be in there. If you play 3 games, that's a decent amount to show your wares on. To go out there and maybe make a play or 2 or something to show what you can do or whatever. So, I mean, I'm certainly not all about getting rid of the preseason games. It helps out. Some of these guys, make the roster, or if they don't make the roster, they're putting stuff on their resume to help maybe somebody else, another team, maybe see what they can do. So I'm not, and once again, it is what it is. And I'm sure somewhere along the line they'll be looking for a 20-game schedule. We can make even more money. So, but I'm not. I mean, so you got 18 games. Then you got, of course, I'm sure though. I mean, because once again, this will be more about the Benjamins. We'll try to sneak in another 4 or 5 playoff teams in each division. So basically, we got 16 teams in each division. So basically, they probably have like 14 teams in each division make it. Each conference make the playoffs. So like first couple teams make a bye, and it'll go down from 14. So they're just like expanding everything. Obviously, once again, to make money. And once again, please forgive me. I'm an old-time fart. I don't think they need 18 games. It's a bit much. I don't even think they needed 17 games, to be honest with you. 16 games is fine. I mean, we had 16 games. What's in 78? So 88, 98, 08, 18. So for over 40 years, we had 16 games. That's what is wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Why do we need 17? Why do we need 18? 16 is fine. If you want, instead of, obviously, maybe I agree with that. I mean, if you want to go from 4 preseason games, which they did, down to 3, okay, that's cool. I think the preseason games are very important. Very important. And just to get rid of them like they're meaningless, I think that's rather ridiculous. Basically, well, let's get rid of a preseason game because we can make more money with the. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous to me. I think the preseason games are very valuable. I said you certainly maybe not 4. Certainly don't need 6 like they were when I was watching football back in the 70s. But okay, 4, but 3, okay. But I mean, I don't even see why you even needed 17 games. That makes no sense to me at all. 16's fine. I mean, But anyway, once again, it's all about the Benjamins. And once again, as I said, please forgive me. I am an old-time fart. The more it's about the Benjamins, the less I like it. All right, then the Giants, joint training camp practices with 2 teams. Now, this is really going to help because I'll tell you, this will really be good. You really like this. Really like this because you got 2 decent teams. Okay, we're not playing the Chiefs. We're not playing the Ravens, but looks like they're going to have something. Maybe a couple practices, maybe with the Lions. Cool, tough team, right? Very good. And then apparently maybe one with the Jets. It looks like maybe in where the Jets. So I guess we're going on the road, right? But once again, a very tough, solid team. You got to give solid a lot of credit. They were obviously they had a heck of a defense. They got a heck of a defense. One more time, they got a heck of a defense. If they can ever keep Rodgers healthy or standing upright or whatever, they got, it's going to be a decent, really decent team. He's done a fine job with that team. Fine job with that team. So, all right. So let's see here. What do we got? Giants are planning to participate in joint training camp practices with 2 teams. Head coach Brian Daboll told reporters Thursday. Daboll said the team plans to have joint practices with the Lions in East Rutherford ahead of their second preseason game. He also mentioned the possibility of 1 joint practice with the Jets at Florham Park ahead of the preseason finale. This is currently tentative as the teams have yet to announce those plans. So, I think that's an outstanding idea. Joint training camp sessions against the Lions should be a good test for Daboll and the Giants. They are an extremely physical group and are considered one of the top teams in the NFC. It will be a good test for a questionable secondary to go against players like Amon Ray St. Brown and Sam Laporta. Meanwhile, the offensive line will be heavily tested, obviously, with Aiden Hutchinson. The Jets and Giants wrap up the preseason as per usual, right? A joint practice beforehand would allow the starters to scrimmage before giving the roster bubble players more chances during the finale. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That's an outstanding player. Outstanding player. Outstanding idea. I like them joint practice because you can, whatever, nobody touches the quarterbacks or whatever. You script the stuff and whatever. I think it's an outstanding because then you don't have you have the coaches there, right? They're kind of hands on and as far as what's going on and all that and everything. So I think that's an outstanding, and I like the two teams, two tough teams, two good defensive teams. Obviously, the Jets should be, if Rodgers is in there, the Jets an overall very good team. Same thing with the Lions. And Lions, could have been in the Super Bowl, but anyway, it's another conversation for another day. So very happy that the Giants look like they're going to be doing some joint practices with a couple other teams. I think that's going to help them out a heck of a lot. Let's see, there's another one. It's from the Sport News here. Basically, it's saying it all says the same thing. Yeah. Sometimes I get a couple articles saying the same thing. All right, then we got OTAs, notes and observations from OTA number 3. So this is it for this week. Right, there'll be 3 next week, and then 4 the following week, and then mini camp, mandatory mini camp. So that's going to be interesting to see if Mr. Waller and Mr. Slayton decide to show up. Giants hosted their 3rd OTA of the spring on Thursday before Memorial Day weekend. Here's what I saw from the sidelines. Who is this here? This would be, my man, Pots and Pains. John Schmelk, the Schmelkster. So this is Giants.com. I watched the outside linebacker and edge players during the individual portion of the practice. They began with a drill designed to get the players to identify a potential pass and bat the ball away. It's like each team, each like the coaches and all and everything. Obviously, this is something different, obviously, than what they had in the past when Wink was there, right? Let's see. After the initial drill, they went into a lateral movement period that seemed to mimic the movement necessary to react to a pass in zone defense, which is something maybe they do a heck of a lot of last year with Wink. This Wink was more of a man guy. Man-to-man. So, obviously, as I said, after the initial drill, they went into a lateral movement period that seemed to mimic the movement necessary to react to pass in the zone defense. Right? The player would have to change direction, moving side to side to make the play. Daniel Jones got his snaps during 7-on-7s and found Malik Neighbors over the middle. Caleb Hayes, a first-year defensive back from BYU, knocked down a pass during the period. Giants' defensive front was very active throughout practice. They found themselves in the backfield often, including Brian Burns and Toman Fox. The secondary made plays on the ball, including a deflection from Darnay Holmes. Darius Muasau did a good job staying with the tight end across the field. Deontay Banks knocked the pass away on the right sideline. Dane Belton had a chance to come up with an interception coming over from center field to prevent a deep completion, but he was not able to come up with the leaping interception. But once again, you got to give, Belton seems like he's around the ball. Whether he made that interception or not, Belton does seem like he's around the ball. Whether it's picking a pass off or recovering a fumble. Yeah. Rookie Andrew Phillips also played strong coverage, preventing a reception. Giants receivers made some plays of their own. Theo Johnson caught a pass down the field, which allowed him to show off his speed for a big game. Neighbors, a fellow rookie, made the splash play of practice. This is ridiculous. I've seen this. I'm like, what? So Neighbors, a fellow rookie, made the splash play of practice, getting more than 10 yards of separation. on what looked like a double move before catching a deep pass from Drew Lock, more than 10 yards. I mean, if you just think about how much 30 feet is, more than 30 feet. I mean, holy cow. I mean, if you get like 3 feet of separation, I mean, more than 3 feet, whatever. I mean, that's not too bad. Okay, I mean, you want maybe a little more than that, but I mean, that's not bad. Okay. That's open in the NFL. You get that much separation, you're open. Okay. He had 30 feet of separation. Wandale Robinson also got himself open several times throughout practice. DeVito showed off his speed on a quarterback keeper, running to the right and splitting the defense for a strong gain. During special teams drills, the offensive line and running backs and quarterbacks came together to work on their pass protections. The quarterback and center would have to call out the proper protection rules, identify the Mike linebackers, and then everyone would have to react properly to the defensive movements to handle design blitzes from the coaching staff. I've been really impressed with how offensive line coach Carmen Basillo is trying to teach the mental part of the game early in the process this spring. That's one thing that's one thing I think he's been taught, but he's also taught his play, the mental. Maybe one guy might bull rush you or something. Maybe you might get out physical or whatever. That's going to happen from time to time. But mentally, can we cut down on the mental mistakes? That would be huge. Let's see. There isn't a ton of yelling and screaming. Instead, there's a meticulous focus on the details of assignment football. Graham Cano was kicked the last couple of days, and there was no signs of the season-ending injury from last season bothering him. Cool, because if Cano is on, that's a huge plus. Huge plus. I mean, if you think how many time and time again, Garneau lining up, it'll be about a 54-yarder. And here's the snap, the kick, it's up. Yep, it's good. 54 yards out. Yeah, just another 50-something yarder field goal from Graham. I mean, how lucky we are. I mean, when the guy was hurt, so that did hurt him last season. But you figure about the first couple of years we had him. I mean, how good he's been. We've been very, very lucky. And if he can come back and be, obviously there's going to be a point in time where maybe his leg strength may not be quite as good as it is or it was or whatever. But, if we get close to his accuracy from what he was in the past, that's a huge plus. Huge, huge plus. We don't realize how good we've had it with him. All right, there's another one here. This is from SNY about the OTAs. Daniel Jones wasn't overly thrilled with the Giants' pursuit of a quarterback in this year's NFL draft. He admitted as much on Thursday. Jones knows what everyone else does. His career in New York would have received a fast-approaching expiration date had Jones Shane successfully moved up to get Drake May. Good news with Jones. The Giants didn't have enough to get a trade done. Good news for the Giants. The last time a pissed-off Jones took the field, he led the team to the playoffs and an eventual upset victory over the Vikings in the first round. Jones said, "I wasn't fired up about it. I'm focused on playing the best football I can play." The Giants held their first media open organized team activity on Thursday. Jones took part in a limited capacity. Noteworthy considering Jones is working his way back from this torn ACL. We know that, okay. Jones did individual work routes on air and 7-and-7 drills. Drew Lock ran the starting offense in full team drills. Jones looked good in limited viewing window. He was poised and decisive and threw with accuracy and zip. More important, he moved well within the pocket, resembling little of a player working his way back from knee surgery. Well, there was a couple plays I saw. I didn't see much, but a couple plays I seen. He threw the ball high 2 times. The guy I don't know who it was. Somebody cut it across the middle. The guy was open. The guy had to reach up like this to grab it, and then he threw a pass by the sidelines to, I think it was a running back going out of the backfield, and the pass was high. The running back caught the ball, but it was not a thing of beauty. It was high. Yeah, so but anyway, let's see here. The next step for Jones is full medical clearance. He expects to receive that, he said, before training camp begins at the end of July. He has no doubt he'll be ready for the season opener against the Vikings on September 8th. But here's more from Thursdays. Now, I got some lineups here. Once again, this is so early, it's not even funny. This lineup could change 500 times between now and the start of the season. So, but tackles Evan Neal and Andrew Thomas. Tackles. They didn't work on Thursday. But from all indication, Evan Neal's also working his way back from injury too, from surgery. But Evan Neal apparently is going to at least start off at the right tackle position. They were involved in the walkthrough and stall, but that's it. In their place, Joshua Zudu, right? And remember, Yadni Kajust. Love that last name. They started. John Runyon, John Michael Schmitz, and Jermaine Illuminor worked on the inside. Now, apparently, I think Runyon was the right guard. Obviously, Schmitz was the center, and Illuminor was, I think, the left guard. Lock, Eric Gray, Theo Johnson, Jalen Hyatt, Wandale Robinson, and Malik Neighbors were your starting skill position guys, with Isaiah Hodgins also worked in. So Eric Gray, once again. This is so far from being a final thing. It's not even close. I mean, it's not even funny. But so Theo Johnson and Eric Gray. Theo was the tight end. Eric Gray was the running back. Interesting. Now, I do see Hyatt, Robinson, and Malik Neighbors being starting 3 wide receivers. That I certainly do. Going to be interesting to see, especially if Waller does retire, how much they get Theo Johnson in there. I bet you'll be in there quite a bit. Let's see here. On defense, I'm counting here. They only got like 10 guys. I'm not sure where the other guys at, but on defense, they have Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau. Then they got Jordan Riley and Ryder Anderson. So Jordan Riley and Ryder Anderson were participating next to Dexter Lawrence. So basically, you had Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, either Riley or Anderson, and then Kayvon Thibodeau. So that's 4. So they received the majority of snaps up front. Then they got Bobby Okereke and Micah McFadden were at the linebacker. Okay, so that's 6 guys. So while in the secondary comprised of Cordell Flott, Jason Pinnock, Dane Belton, and Deonte Banks. So we got 6 and 4. That makes 10. I'm not sure who the 11th player is, but and according to this, but I think they're missing somebody in the secondary. I don't know. I'm not sure. Looks like they're missing one of the cornerbacks because they got Flott and Banks. Then they have the 2 safeties. They got Dane Belton and Jason Pinnock. So it's what it is. But just nice to have guys on the field. Really, really nice to have guys on the field. This is just we're starting to build, right? It was OTA 3. Next week we're on 4, 5, and 6. Right, so a couple weeks. I mean, and 2 more weeks, right? OTAs will be done. There'll be a mandatory mini camp, and then we'll have that month off, right? It was like just radio silence, right? But then when they come back, it's training camp, preseason games, regular season. Oh, man, it's on. I love it. Absolutely love it. All right, now we got good old the Godfather. It's going to add a little something to his resume, which is good. I think it's really, guy's been around for a long time. Guy's made a big. I mean, it's funny what Kayvon Thibodeau calls him. I think it was Kayvon. Called him 2 names he gave him. So pretty impressive. But I really think that what they're doing here is not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. But Andre Patterson's adding a little, well, not so much add to his resume because he's done this before, but he hasn't done this before with the Giants. So Defensive line coach Adoree Patterson revealed he's been asked to do something different this year. Do something different this year with the Giants. Okay. When it comes to the Giants, a team that finished 6-11, this is from Giants Country. Who wrote this here? This would be, Patty Trainer. Take, for instance, the decision to have defensive line coach Adoree Patterson work with the edge rushers, a first for the veteran coach while with the Giants. Patterson, who confirmed the change, noted that with new defensive coordinator Shane Bowen looking to generate a pass rush with the front seven. Well, see, and that's the thing, is it's not a front seven, because you can't have five guys in the secondary. Right? You can't have three cornerbacks, two safeties, or two cornerbacks and three safeties or whatever, and have a front seven. That's really kind of tough. But anyway, because most teams have run, a lot of teams run three wide receivers. So, but anyway, let's see. So Shane Bowen's looking to generate a pass rush from the front seven. There has been more collaboration between himself and new outside linebacker coach Charlie Bolin to get the edge rushers up to speed. Patterson said, "I'm just doing what they want me to do." Patterson told reporters during the defensive assistants media session, "It wasn't something that was asked of me before then. I have a little history of helping those guys, so it's been good. It's been good for me to visit with those guys and let them see how I think it should be done." The Giants pass rush under defensive coordinator Wink Martindale. It's like, I don't know. The thing that was bothering me about that was, as much as he went up blitzing, we just did not seem to get home, shall we say. Now, got some numbers here. So the Giants pass rush under former defensive coordinator Wink Martindale relied more heavily on, obviously, on the exotic blitzes, right, which often call upon members of the defensive secondary to provide extra firepower. Last season, the Giants had the second highest blitz rate. I think the Vikings were number one. The Giants blitzed 45.4% of the time, which was the second highest, but only managed to get pressure on 20.9% of their blitzes, which was 18th in the league, which is absolutely horrible. You blitz the second most, okay, and you only get, it's just absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. The pressure rate was just absolutely unacceptable. Really. So let's hope that the Godfather here can do some help. Says the change in coaching philosophy seems to be going well, according to outside linebacker Kayvon Thibodeau. Dre is a legend. This is funny. He's like Mr. Miyagi or Yoda. He knows how it all works. He's one of those guys, man. When he speaks, you listen. Okay. Charlie comes in and he's the energy. When you talk about the scheme, things like that, they've been working hand in hand. When you see how it's going to continue to unfold, I think last year the interior and the edge weren't cohesive. Now it's going to start to work like clockwork. Thibodeau's comments about the lack of cohesiveness between the interior and the edge raised some eyebrows. The third-year linebacker likened the two units to a basketball team. Basketball has a lot of star players. You can play one-on-one. You can go out there and have a LeBron James. All these greats go out and score, he explained. But now with football, you're not as good unless you have all 11 players. Now, when you look at the front, right, one side isn't setting the edge and the other is. It doesn't matter. If the back end isn't covering the wide receivers, there's no chance for a sack. the front end is not pressuring the quarterback, there's no chance for a pick. When you think about how things work together, we have to understand that. During OTA number 3, both Thibodeau and Brian Burns were extremely active when asked to rush the passer. However, it needs to be remembered that these are non-contact practices that aren't even held in shells, right? Which means they're getting excited over a sizable amount of pressure or lack thereof is premature. So, let's see. It means nothing, Burns said of his seemingly productive day. The main thing is I'm focused on right now is pretty much getting my wind up. The moves and everything natural that's going to come. That's going to be there. Yeah, me doing what I did today in OTA's training camp will show more. That's real football. So, but I think that's really that's an outstanding idea. To really think that's a great idea. To get the Godfather is get his advice. You know what I mean? I mean, you got the guys on the front there. Why is he just why is he just talking to these guys? The guy has so much knowledge and everything, and why would you want him to maybe share a little knowledge with the guys on the edge? You got the front 4. Why you have this really guy that has got a lot of knowledge and experience and all this, and he's not called the Godfather. Why is he all this? Just talking to these 2 guys here. Why don't you have him talking a little, pointing stuff out to these guys too, right? As Kayvon was saying, it's the front 4, right? They work together. That's huge. But all he always said is that if the guys in the front can get some pressure. Right? I mean, a couple of things can happen, right? Either you can get a sack, the quarterback throws the ball away, whatever, or you get enough pressure on there or something. Or maybe a bad pass, maybe you get an interception. Right? If the guys can't get pressure, he was pointing this out too. Yeah, the guys can't get pressure. The quarterback can stand in the pocket long. You could have everybody back there can be a Deion Sanders. You can't cover guys forever. You look at look at these teams that we're going against. But I mean, look at the Eagles and the Cowboys. I mean, look at the receivers they got. Right? The Eagles, with Saquon Barkley coming out of the backfield. How long are you going to be able to cover those guys for? It doesn't matter how great your secondary is. If the quarterback can stand back there for half an hour, sooner or later somebody's going to get open. So you got to get pressure on the quarterback, which would be huge, right? But I mean, what Kayvon was saying, it's a team, right? You can get all the pressure you want, but if nobody covers anything back there, the quarterback will just pick you apart. So it's a team. It's just not. Well, we can get pressure on the quarterback, so we're a great defense. Now you need the secondary as well too. But if the secondary can, it works hand in hand. Secondary can lock down the receivers for at least a few seconds anyway. It gives the front wall, the rushers, the chance to get a sack. I mean, it's very important, especially nowadays when you got quarterbacks getting the ball out in like 2 seconds. I mean, ain't nobody sacking the quarterback in 2 seconds. That's not happening. I mean, these guys, with the hot routes and everything like that, they get the ball in their hands and boom, it's out. It's tough, very, very tough. But I think that's very, very good. It's not like he hadn't done that before. He just hasn't been asked to do that. Last year with the Wink, I think the Wilkins brothers were the outside linebacker coaches. And, I mean, Kayvon had a great year and all of that, but we didn't have many sacks at all. It was not a banner year. Certainly it was not a banner year. I mean, we had the defense. I mean, we had some turnovers. The defense did a decent job, and giving up points per game, did a decent job, especially because we had like no offense. So we did a decent job, but the running game was not very good. We had a lot of pressure, but we didn't get a lot of hits on the quarterback we blitzed a lot, but that didn't turn into a high pressure rate, didn't turn into a high sack rate. I certainly love when Wink was here. It was always exciting to think about what might be and all that and everything. But it's a new era. Shane Bowen's here. We'll have to see how long he stays here for. But I'm very excited about where we're going. I'm really happy about what they're doing with Andre, the Godfather Patterson, which leads me into my next point, that the Giants look like they finally, for the first time in about 300 years, it looks like the Giants might have beat the Cowboys. Now, I didn't even know this happened. Apparently, this happened like months ago. I must have been sleeping at the wheel or something like that. But since Zimmer is the defensive coordinator now for the Cowboys, obviously when he was with the Vikings as their head coach and all, right, the Godfather was there. He was with the defense with the Vikings when Zimmer was the head coach. Now that Zimmer is the defensive coordinator, right, with the Cowboys, I picked the phone up and they had the cojones, right? They had right. They had the what do you want to call them? The balls, I guess we'd say, right? To actually call a team in their own division a real good. I mean, now that's what I'm saying. It wasn't like as I said this. I said I was sleeping at the wheel. I must have been in a coma because this was like because I typed in Andre Patterson and a couple of things popped up. One of them was about him talking or working with the edge rushers for the Giants. I'm like, cool. But then there was also this other story underneath it, which happened. I think it was in February. So I'm like, damn, it's 3 months ago. Jeez, where the hell was I at? But apparently, I guess the Cowboys, because Zimmer's the defensive coordinator, he wants, it's like I'm gonna see if I get Patterson back here, be my defensive line coach, right? Well, so I actually said the Cowboys actually had the cojones to call the Giants just to see if they can basically take one of their best coaches, if maybe not their best coach, and just have them do a lateral move. You don't mind, right? We'll take your best coach, and right, for be a lateral move. Get the fuck out of here, dude. I mean, what are you, jackwagon? Get the fuck out of here, stupid ass Cowboys. Get the fuck out of here. Hang the phone up on us, an asshole. Yeah, get out of here, dude. You're making me want to throw them up. You really got that. I mean, but thankfully the Giants said, go yourself. Now, what a bunch of morons. But so the Giants, that's the same thing what happened with the Giants. The Giants were calling around like offensive line coaches, right, this past offseason. One or so might have said yes. A lot of them blocked the Giants. Same thing with the special teams coordinator. Giants called around. Some teams blocked the Giants. The Giants got themselves looks like a promising special teams coordinator. So I'm cool with that. But some teams said no. Some teams said yes. I mean, that's all you do. The Cowboys called up. But I mean, it was just. But basically, that's because Zimmer, Patterson and Zimmer worked together for I don't know how many years at Minnesota. So I guess Zimmer thought maybe, but thankfully the Giants said no. I mean, as I said, this was February 13th. This was 3 months ago. Man, I must have been hitting a crack pipe or something. I don't know what I was doing. I must have been in a coma. Giants denied the Cowboys a chance to interview defensive line coach Andre Patterson. So the Giants might have finally found a way to get a victory over the Cowboys. Cowboys interested in interviewing Giants defensive line coach Andre Patterson for a lateral move. Of course, the NFC East was rebuffed Tuesday, a source confirmed to the Post. ESPN first reported that an interview request was denied, but the message might have been translated in more informal conversations before permission was sought. Either way, injecting new subject into the rivalry, which has seen 13 wins by the Cowboys in the past 14 meetings. You got that, frickin' my brother. The interest comes as no surprise given that the new Cowboys defensive coordinator, Mike Zimmer, employed Patterson for the length of his 8 years. 8 years. So, you can't blame him. But, I mean, a lateral move inside the division. I mean, I mean, that, you know what that would be like? Yeah, I'm saying that would be almost like the Giants picking the phone up and calling the Eagles for Jeff Stoutland. Possibly, like at this particular point in time, might be the one or two best offensive linemen and offensive line coaches in all football for a lateral move. Yeah, can we get the best offensive line coach in football? Eagles, you think he'll just be a lateral move and just come on over here, right? That'd be okay, right? I mean, unbelievable. But let's see. Patterson worked his way from defensive line coach to co-defensive coordinator to assist head coach under Zimmer. Assistant head coach under Zimmer. But the Giants weren't about to let Patterson leave, certainly not after he helped develop tackle Dexter Lawrence into an all-pro during the last 2 seasons together. Absolutely. The Giants told candidates throughout their defensive coordinator search that it was a strong preference to retain Patterson on the staff. Sources familiar with the process told the Post. Good. I mean, you see what they did with Sexy Dexy. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sexy Dexy was pretty darn good, before Patterson got here. But Patterson just, elevated the guy. I mean, but Patterson was not under consideration for the play calling job that went to Shane Bowen. So, it is what it is. But there's also there's a video. I can't remember. I'm such a moron. I can't remember if it was last year or if it was 2 years ago. It's one of those two. That Sexy was just doing his thing during the game, just having another phenomenal game and all that stuff and everything. And on the sideline, during the game, and Dexter's like looking down at Patterson. Patterson's looking up at him, straight up dog. And I think Sexy's like, yes, sir. He's like, just a straight up dog. He's looking at him. You know what I mean? He's just like so proud of him, where he was just taking over the game area. I mean, just how he elevated him. You see what a good coach can do? I said, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Sexy was a slouch or Sexy was horrible, not like that by any stretch of the imagination since he came in the league in 2019. But those past 2 seasons when Andre Patterson was here, I mean, he really – you talking about, now all of a sudden you're talking about Sexy. Aaron Donald's gone. Sexy's like, what, made a top 2 now? Defensive interior, maybe top 3, maybe the worst as far as interior defensive linemen. As far as interior defensive linemen getting pressure, I think Sexy's like above everybody. Oh, yeah. Over the past couple of seasons, what Andre Patterson's been able to do with him is just so that's why I really like why he's going to maybe help. You got this guy with so much knowledge and experience and success, maybe not winning Super Bowls or nothing like that, but success with the guys he's worked with, right? Why wouldn't you want to at least maybe not and ask him to take over the edge, the outside, or the defensive ends or whatever you want to call them position. But give some advice, talk. See what do you see? What do you think? What do you see? Whoever the coach is at, may not everything Patterson says, but he'll certainly take it under consideration or something. So let him say something. You seen it? We missing anything? You see something? Maybe we should change something out. What can that hurt? The guy's success. What a coach can do. Can really. We've seen what Patterson can do here, but we also seen, as I said, without question, what a good offensive line coach can do. Can really, really elevate a player, elevate a unit, and if we can get a cohesive offensive line. If we get around number 20, I'm not saying we got to be in the top 10 or anything like that, but instead of being number 30, can we get around number 20 with the draft capital that we've spent and the capital that we've spent to bring in free agents in? All right, can we get a functional unit? Right? I don't think that's too much to ask. A first round with Neal, a first round with Thomas, a second round with Michael Schmitz, a third round with Azudu. We've spent some draft capital. I mean, I don't think it's too much to ask it to get around like number 20 or something like that. See, somewhere around like, 16 to 20 something, you got a chance. You got a chance. It may not be your strong suit, your offensive line, if you're like the 20th or whatever, but it gives you a chance. Last year with the offensive line, obviously a lot of it had to do with injuries. Don't get me wrong. But we had no chance last year. Even if some miracle happened, right? And we got into the playoffs, we saw what we did against playoff teams. Now, we did beat the Packers. Don't get me wrong there, okay? But we saw what, the Cowboys just demolished us. The 49ers just demolished us, So, we did beat the Eagles, right? But they also beat us as well, too. But you see it, but you just kind of notice, like when you go up against the big boys last season with that offensive line, we had, for the most part, we had like no chance at all. So, coaching can be huge. All right, guys, it's been 1 hour. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. It means so much to me, guys. Thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.